Jason, it's Steve and MJ from 97 ZOK.
Hey, how you doing?
How have you been?
I've been great. Yeah, I've been great. Been hard at work here. Had a couple twin babies, and so they got me running around like crazy, and that wasn't enough work, so I decided to build the world's tallest glass Christmas tree.
Yeah, so I've been...
in my spare time.
I was a teenager the first time I ever saw anybody blow glass, and it was at a carnival, and the guy was just in a little trailer, and he was making little figurines.
Sure.
You were making 30-foot tall Christmas trees? I mean, I didn't even know you could blow glass that size.
Yeah, you typically can't. So this is more glass sculpting. So we're not actually blowing, as in like blowing bubbles and doing the hollow blown work. So this is more of a mixed media sculpture because it's got a spinning steel armature that's 31 feet tall, and then we're wrapping the melted liquid glass around that.
Dang.
I've been following your pages ever since I left school, obviously ever since we hung out. And like just like the animal sculptures you've been doing, and just like anytime you make anything, I always show my boyfriend and I'm like, oh my gosh, Colin, look at what he made now. Look at what he made now. And then a couple weeks ago, I'm like, well, dang, this is quite the big project you're doing.
Yeah. I did a 20-foot tall version in Bloomington back in like 2010 and 11, and I haven't done any large on-site sculpture for years now. And it just seems like a good time to bring that project back and kind of go bigger than ever.
How long did the first one take back in 2010?
That took about 5 days.
Okay.
This tree, we've been working on this one since last Friday, so we're going about, this will be the 7th day we're working on it.
Now, what's the process? Like you said, you're still working with liquid glass, but it's not quite like the blowing of the figurines and stuff. I mean, what takes place to be able to spin glass around, this steel infrastructure?
So it starts by putting a call out to the community to bring their recycled bottle glass. We're accepting green and clear bottles.
Okay.
And so that's the material we're using. So the community brings the glass on site. We sort it by the clear and the green, crush it, and then shovel it in the furnace. It melts over about 6-hour period. So we shovel the glass in the evening, and then by morning time we've got the 300 pounds of liquid glass in the crucible.
Well, what temperature does it take to melt glass?
So we're melting the glass at 2,300 degrees.
Jeez.
Damn.
So yeah. We have quite a bit of heat, and the furnace runs on natural gas or propane. So when I pull the furnace, it's on the back of a trailer. When I pull it on site, we hook it up to a propane tank,
okay.
And so that's the heating source. It's also got a little blower motor, so it's just basically a force there, and then inject some propane in that airstream, and you got a big blue flame that bombards the fire chamber. There's a crucible in there. The crucible is being a ceramic pot, and it holds 300 pounds of liquid glass. So once that glass is all ready and hot, we gather it out with steel gathering irons and then bring it over to the spinning armature. And there's little hooks on it, so you kind of tag your gather on the hook, and it pulls the glass around and around. So the whole frame is motorized. So once we got to the point of the frame being, I constructed it and got it installed, and really the wrapping of the glass is the easy part in this whole process.
Well, I feel like you say that, and maybe it was when you were on the ground, but now that you're getting taller up in the tree, you are literally lifting all these said equipment you just had into the air, correct?
Yeah, that was that's kind of a first of its kind I've ever seen or heard of, lifting a 2,300 degree furnace while it's running 20 feet up in the air.
That just sounds all kinds of dangerous.
Nerve-wracking. And we had, that was actually our plan C was to use a telescoping forklift to lift the furnace up to me while I was on a scissor lift. That was not my first plan of action, but since I'd never done this before that tall, we didn't know how the glass was going to react or how fast we were going to be able to ride the scissor lift up, or how. So the plan A was just, I'm on the scissor lift, my buddy gathers the glass, hands it to me up on the lift, and I just kind of ride the lift up while the glass is wrapping around the tree. But the lift is too slow to get to the top of the tree and still have hot glass. But then also you'd be riding the lift up and down all day, and it takes forever. So then plan B was use like a torch and then have a torch on the end of the gather, so it was still hot when you get to the top, but that ended up not being practical. So I contacted one of the rental companies in town here, and I was like, hey, would you be willing to sponsor us with one of your telescoping forklifts for this crazy idea? And they were getting sports, and they're like, sure, we can spare our forklifts for a few days for that. So we got that on site, and it's actually been working fantastic. I mean, it's just like being on the ground, really, because the scissor lift has got a fairly large platform, and then the furnace is sitting right there, lifted up on the end of the, hoisted up next to the scissor lift. So I just walk to one end of the scissor lift, gather it out of the furnace, walk to the other end, and wrap the tree. So it's actually been working fantastic.
Yeah, easy peasy, right?
Yeah, right? Just like that. Do it yourself, if you will.
It was definitely a little nerve-wracking when we first lifted it up. But now we've done it 3 times, and so we're getting a little more comfortable with the process.
I'm going to ask a question that may be dumb. I don't know, just because I know so very little about this whole glass blowing and the heat and everything. But what you described, the glass has to stay at that temperature when you're spinning it around, right? Because I would assume once it starts to cool down, it solidifies and could break, right?
It does, yeah. So the glass stays moving and liquid for about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
And during that time, it just slowly starts to stiffen up. And then as the glass is wrapping around the tree, and then, it finally does get cool, and then the thread just kind of breaks, and that's what frees you of the armature. So it does, and the structure it has a bunch of stainless steel spikes, and so that kind of locks all the threads in. If you go to my Facebook page, you can see pictures of it, and it'll make a little more sense. But the structure is actually extremely resilient, and once the glass is kind of wrapped around the steel and the spikes kind of lock everything in place, it's extremely durable.
How tall is it right now?
So it's 31 feet right now. So the armature starts off, being the final height. It's just how long it takes us to actually wrap the glass up that high. So right now, last night we put another 300 pounds of glass on it because we've been just emptying the furnace out on it once a day.
Okay.
So we've got, I think we're about 20 feet up right now. We reached the third hoop, so we're about 20 feet up right now. We got another 10 feet to go.
That's so exciting. So when do you think you'll be done? Like, how much longer do you think it'll take?
I was hoping to be done by the end of this weekend, but it looks like we're going to get some rain. So I gave myself until the last weekend before Christmas, so the 19th and the 20th. That's Saturday, Sunday. But I think we could be done probably by the end of this weekend or midweek next week, and then we'll still be working and putting glass on it the last weekend that we're open to the public, and that's December 19th and 20th. So yeah, we'll definitely be done by the target date, which was the 20th.
How do you light this thing after? Is there lights inside shining out, outside shining in? How will this thing all be lit up?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So we put bright LED lights underneath it and beam those straight up, and then we put some LED lights on the outside of it. They're essentially work lights, exterior, rated work lights, and we beam some lights up through the middle of it, and then shine some lights on the outside of it. And I mean, you could see the thing from a mile away. It illuminates the whole neighborhood in this beautiful green light.
And where is this tree then? When you say illuminates the whole neighborhood, where is this thing at?
It's downtown Champaign at the northeast corner of Neal and Washington. So if you're driving south on Neal Street, which is one of the main downtown streets here in Champaign, Illinois, you can't miss it. As soon as you get into town, just look to your left and you'll see it.
Is there Guinness talk in this conversation at all? I mean, does a record exist for the tallest glass Christmas tree?
It does not yet. That is not something that's in the Guinness Book of World Records. We've kind of done a little research on what it takes to get in the book, and it's possible. But yeah, it essentially comes down to paying them some money to send somebody out here and take a look at it.
Oh, well, Jason, I was literally beyond impressed when you helped me make a 2-inch leaf out of glass. So this tree is doing nothing short of blowing my mind.